Welcome to another episode of ArchEdu. In today's episode we'll see some marvelous lost cities in the world. So, buckle up your seat belts to time travel. Number 30. Troy, Greece. 3500 BC. Archaeological research shows that it was inhabited for almost 4,000 years starting around 3000 BC. There is no one single Troy, there are at least 10, lying in layers on top of each other. The city was considerably enlarged and furnished with a massive defensive wall made of cut blocks of stone and rectangular clay bricks. Number 29. Memphis. 3200 BC. Memphis was more likely a fortress from which Menes controlled the land and water routes between Upper Egypt and the Delta. It was abandoned after the Muslim conquest of Egypt in 640 AD. Its ruins include the Great Temple of Ptah, royal palaces, and a colossal statue of Ramses II. Number 28. Babylon, Iraq. 2300 BC. Babylon, the capital of Babylonia, an ancient empire of Mesopotamia, was a city on the Euphrates River. Babylon became legendary from the days of Nebuchadnezzar, who is credited for building the legendary Hanging Gardens. All that remains of the famed city today is a mound of broken mud brick buildings and debris in the fertile Mesopotamian plain between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Iraq. Number 27. Taxila. Originally built in Hindustan, now in Pakistan. 1000 BCE. Taxila is an ancient city that was annexed by the Persian king Darius the Great in 518 BC. In 326 BC the city was surrendered to Alexander the Great. Ruled by a succession of conquerors, the city became an important Buddhist center. Taxila's prosperity in ancient times resulted from its position at the junction of three great trade routes. It was finally destroyed by the Huns in the 5th century. Number 26. Sukhothai, Thailand. 1248 to 1438 CE. Sukhothai gained its independence in the 13th century and became established as the capital of the first united and independent Thailand state. The ancient town is reported to have had some 80,000 inhabitants. After 1351, when Ayutthaya was founded as the capital of a powerful rival Thai dynasty, Sukhothai's influence began to decline, and in 1438 the town was conquered and incorporated into the Ayutthaya kingdom. Sukhothai was abandoned in the late 15th or early 16th century. Number 25. MohenjoDaro. Originally built in Hindustan, now in Pakistan. 3000 BCE. Mohenjo-Daro was one of the early urban settlements in the world. It has a planned layout based on a grid of streets, which were laid out in perfect patterns. At its height the city probably had around 35,000 residents. The buildings of the city were particularly advanced, with structures constructed of same-sized sun-dried bricks of baked mud and burned wood. Mohenjo-Daro and the Indus Valley civilization vanished without a trace from history around 1700 BC. Number 24. Hatra, Iraq. 2nd and 1st century BC. Founded as an Assyrian city by the Seleucid Empire during the 3rd century BC. A religious and trading center of the Parthian Empire, Hatra flourished during the 2nd and 1st centuries BC. The most important temple at Hatra was to Shamash, the sun god common to all Semitic peoples. Number 23. Sanchi, India. 3rd century BCE. The monuments at Sanchi today comprise a series of Buddhist monuments starting from the Maurya Empire period, 3rd century BCE, continuing with the Gupta Empire period, 5th century CE, and ending around the 12th century CE. The Great Stupa at Sanchi is the oldest structure and was originally commissioned by the Emperor Ashoka the Great of the Maurya Empire in the 3rd century BCE. Number 22. Chan Chan, South America. 850 to 1400 AD. Chan Chan is believed to have been constructed around 850 AD by the Chimu. It was the Chimera Empire capital city with an estimated population of 40,000 to 60,000 people. The city of Chan Chan spanned 20 square kilometers and had a dense urban center of 6 square kilometers which contained extravagant ciudadelas. Ciudadelas were large architectural masterpieces which housed plazas, storerooms, and burial platforms for the royals. Number 21. Persepolis, Iran. 515 BC. Persepolis was the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire. It is situated 60 kilometers northeast of the city of Shiraz in Fars province, Iran. Grey limestone was the main building material used at Persepolis. After invading Achaemenid Persia in 330 BC, Alexander the Great sent the main force of his army to Persepolis by the royal road. Number 20. Genk, Uzbekistan. Estimated dates 5th to 4th century BC. Gergenje, also known as Kunya Genk, Old Genk, or Ergenje, is a municipality of about 30,000 inhabitants in North Turkmenistan, just south from its border with Uzbekistan. It is the site of the ancient town of Genk, which contains the ruins of the capital of Khwarezm, a part of the Achaemenid Empire. Number 19. Vijayanagara, India. 1336 to 1646 AD. In the first 2 decades after the founding of the empire, Harihara I gained control over most of the area south of the Tungabhadra River and earned the title of Purvapaskama Samadrati Shavara. It means, master of the eastern and western seas. The empire reached its peak during the rule of Krishnadevaraya when Vijayanagara armies were consistently victorious. Number 18. Calakmul, Mexico. 550 BC to 900 AD. In Maya, Ca means to, lak means adjacent, and mul signifies any artificial mound or pyramid, so Calakmul is the city of the 2 adjacent pyramids. In the classic period 500 AD to 800 AD, Calakmul was a powerhouse, with over 50,000 inhabitants, 6,700 structures. The Great Pyramid at the site, structure 2, is over 45 meters, 148 feet, high, making it one of the tallest of the Maya pyramids with the most spectacular views. Number 17. Palmyra, Syria. 3rd millennium BC. Started as a Mesopotamian settlement, Palmyra was controlled by the Arameans from the 2nd millennium BC, before Arabs arrived in the 1st millennium BC. The settlement of Tadmor, and it became a leading city of the Near East and a major trading post on the Silk Road. The architecture of Palmyra combined Greco-Roman styles with those of Persia and Arabia. Number 16. Ctesiphon, Iraq. 120 BC. Ctesiphon was founded by the Parthian king Vardanes. The first reliable mention of Ctesiphon, however, is as a Greek army camp on the east bank of the Tigris River opposite the Hellenistic city of Seleucia. The Arabs in AD 637 conquered the city and at first used the Ak-Kisra as an improvised mosque. Number 15. Ani, Armenia. 5th century AD. Armenian chroniclers such as Yeghishi and Ghazar Parpatsi first mentioned Ani in the 5th century. By the early 9th century, the former territories of the Kamsarikans in Arsharonik and Shiruk, including Ani, had been incorporated into the territories of the Armenian Bagratuni dynasty. Number 14. Tiwanaku, Bolivia. 200 to 1000 CE. Tiwanaku, or Tiwanaku, was the capital of the Tiwanaku Empire between c. 200 to 1000 CE and is situated in the Titicaca Basin. At an altitude of 3,850 meters it was the highest city in the ancient world and had a peak population of between 30,000 and 70,000 residents. Number 13. Pompeii, Italy. 8th century BC. Greek settlers made the town part of the Hellenistic sphere in the 8th century BC. An independently minded town, Pompeii fell under the influence of Rome in the 2nd century BC. In October 79 AD, The Vesuvius eruption sputtered and Pompeii was buried under millions of tons of volcanic ash. About 2,000 Pompeiians were dead, but the eruption killed as many as 16,000 people overall. Number 12. Petra Jordan. 7000 BC. Petra lies around Jabal al-Madbagh in a basin surrounded by mountains which form the eastern flank of the Araba Valley that runs from the Dead Sea to the Gulf of Aqaba. Although the Nabatean kingdom became a client state of the Roman Empire in the 1st century BC, it was only in 106 AD that it lost its independence. Number 11. Tikal, Mexico. 200 to 900 AD. Starting in the 1st century AD, the city began to flourish culturally and politically, overtaking the city of El Mirador to the north in terms of power and influence within the Mayan Empire, which stretched as far north as the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Number 10. Angkor, Cambodia. 9th century. From the last decade of the 9th century, when King Yasovarman first made Angkor his place of residence, until the early years of the 13th century, the kings of Angkor ruled over a territory that extended from the tip of the Indo-Chinese peninsula northward to modern Yunnan province, China, and from Vietnam westward toward the Bay of Bengal. The city was planned and constructed on the basis of religious and political conceptions imported from India and adapted to local traditions. Number 9. Machu Picchu, Peru. 15th century. Located in the eastern cordillera of southern Peru, on a 2,430-meter mountain ridge. Machu Picchu was constructed as an estate for the Inca Emperor Pachacuti. Machu Picchu was built in the classical Inca style, with polished dry stone walls. Its three primary structures are the Intihuatana, the Temple of the Sun, and the Room of the Three Windows. Number 8. Kalibangan, India. Harappan 1 to Harappan 3c. It is also identified as being established in the triangle of land at the confluence of Drishadvati and Sarasvati River. The prehistoric and pre-Mauryan character of Indus Valley civilization was first identified by Luigi Tessitore at this site. Kalibangan was a major provincial capital of the Indus Valley civilization. Kalibangan is distinguished by its unique fire altars and world's earliest attested plowed field. Number 7. Lithal, India. Approximately 3700 BCE. Lithal had the world's earliest known dock, which connected the city to an ancient course of the Sabarmati River on the trade route between Harappan cities in Sindh and the peninsula of Saurashtra when the surrounding Kutch Desert of today was a part of the Arabian Sea. After the core of the Indus civilization had decayed in Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, Lithal seems not only to have survived but to have thrived for many years. Number 6. Helike, Greece. 3rd century BC. Helike was founded in the Bronze Age, becoming the principal city of Achaea. The poet Homer states that the city of Helike participated in the Trojan War as a part of Agamemnon's forces. The city was destroyed in 373 BC, 2 years before the Battle of Leuctra. Number 5. Caral, Peru. 2600 BCE. Caral is divided into two parts, the upper half and the lower half. The site contains the greater temple of Chapasaguro, which is the largest building and which is linked to a sunken circular plaza. The structure is described as being very similar to the Greater Pyramid in the upper half of Caral. Number 4. Leptis Magna, Libya. 7th century BCE. Leptis Magna, located in western Libya, North Africa, was a Phoenician city founded by Tyre in the 7th century BCE. Continuing to be a major city in the Roman period, it was the birthplace of Emperor Septimius Severus. In the 2nd century BCE, the city gained favor by supporting Rome during the Third Punic War with Carthage. Number 3. Skara Brae, Scotland. 3180 BC to about 2500 BC. Located on the Bay of Skyle on the west coast of mainland, the largest island in the Orkney archipelago of Scotland. The houses used earth sheltering, being sunk into the ground. The dwellings contain a number of stone-built pieces of furniture, including cupboards, dressers, seats, and storage boxes. Number 2. Stonehenge. England. Approximately about 10,000 years. Stonehenge is a massive stone monument located on a chalky plain north of the modern-day city of Salisbury, England. The biggest of Stonehenge stones, known as sarsens, are up to 30 feet, 9 meters, tall and weigh 25 tons on average. Dozens of burial mounds have been discovered near Stonehenge, indicating that hundreds, if not thousands, of people were buried there in ancient times. At least 17 shrines, some in the shape of a circle, have also been discovered near Stonehenge. N. Number 1. Göbekli Tepe. Turkey. Approximately about 12,000 years. At around 12,000 years old, Göbekli Tepe in southeast Turkey has been billed as the world's oldest temple. Göbekli Tepe was built by hunter-gatherers, apparently before the agricultural revolution. It features a series of circular sunken structures that had been occupied for 1,000 years before they were backfilled and abandoned. There is a ring of T-shaped monolithic columns with a pair of larger, carved T-columns at the center up to 5 meters tall. Well, that's is for today, dear friends. I hope you have enjoyed today's time travel journey with me. Soon we will meet with new and exciting informative videos. Till then, take care and enjoy.